Now let's talk about summers. Seth and Leonardo, what have you been doing in the summers? And have you been able to get any paid internships? And if so, how did you find them, Seth and Leonardo?
So I spent this past summer in New York City. I'm working consulting, so I'm at PricewaterhouseCoopers. It's like this accounting slash consulting firm. And I got into consulting my freshman year because at Stern, like at Stern is the business school at NYU, there's like this very intense culture of like future and career. So like right when you get there, it's like people are talking about coffee chats, like who are you meeting with? How many interviews do you have lined up? Like, are you going into banking or are you going into consulting? That's like immediately the culture you're thrown into. And so you quickly have to either like catch on and pretend like you know what everyone's talking about, or you just like you fall behind. So like I caught on and I decided I didn't want to do like banking or anything finance related because I just didn't want to deal with like 100-hour weeks. I didn't feel like there was ever a point in my life where I would want to do that. Other people disagree, like half my school disagrees. So um, they're going into that. But I immediately knew that like, my strengths lie in work that would be more aligned with consulting. I like working with people and like tackling a problem on a higher level, on a broader level, like figuring out like who's affected by the problem and like what logistics can take place to solve it. So that's just like more aligned with my interests and my skills. So that's what I went into. I interviewed in February of my freshman year, and I got the acceptance in May, I think. So like since then, and that was for this past summer. So like in business, a lot of times internships at these like big firms start a year and a half early recruitment process for that. So I guess my recommendation for when you guys get into college, especially if you're going into like business or finance or something in that space, is to not be afraid to start looking early. The earlier is the better, definitely, because there's a lot of students in my major now that are looking for recruitment opportunities. And even other firms that I've applied to in consulting, I've gotten just straight rejection after rejection because like the job market is really really rough right now. So I'm just grateful that I like signed up for that early on. But the earlier the better because you never know how the like economic landscape of jobs are going to look in the future. And if you can get a firm to tell you that like as long as you follow all the steps, you're going to keep coming back here. Like that's a nice thing to have. Um, yeah, network. It's really about like who you know in the space, and like I was guided by people that I met in my classes that were 3 years older than me and had already undergone the same recruitment process at PwC. So they just guided me through it, the types of questions that they'll ask you in the interviews. Like they can like reference you to the right people. So if you're studying business or anything in like the corporate space, it's really about like your ability to network and just like make connections and ask for help when you need it, and vouch for yourself in that space. But earlier the better.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. Networking is like a very important thing. I'm in engineering, and networking is like a super important thing. This past week, I went to a job fair and made some connections. So I'm gonna like send some emails, meet some people, just to figure out what's available. So definitely like start reaching out, connect with your professors because your professors have connections and they can get you connected to certain companies. This past summer, I was doing research with one of my professors, so I had a class with him, and then he invited me to join his lab. And then I stayed as a paid student researcher over the summer to gain experience because a lot of STEM internships require experience. Um, so, like, even as an entry level position or an internship, you're like they kind of expect you to have some knowledge. So, by talking to your professors and gaining that knowledge on campus, that's super helpful. Um, and then again, going to those networking events where you can meet the job recruiters and you can talk to them and like ask them questions without being like in a formal interview setting. Because when you go talk to them, and if you make like a connection with them, they will remember you, and then you apply later on. You go to an interview, you say the same person again. They're like, "Hey, I remember you." Like, so just start making those connections as soon as you can. Don't get hurt if you get rejected, because a lot of like I'm applying to a ton of internships. A lot of my friends will send off like 20 internship applications in a single day, and then like a few weeks later they get 20 rejections back because STEM is like very competitive. A lot of people are applying for a lot of positions, so just send out applications, um, kind of like see what you want to do. Take it as an opportunity to again like explore your interests more. See like try this out for a summer. If you don't like it, don't do it again. If you like it, then apply again. A lot of companies will also offer return offers. I know my sister got a job offer from an internship she had over like the two previous summers. So just like reach out, explore, Just try to find something, and if you don't get it, then don't be bothered by that because you'll find something.
Thank you.